You ever wonder why millionaires seem to play a totally different game? Like they wake up every day with the same 24 hours as the rest of us, yet somehow their money just multiplies while most people are still stressing about rent. It's not luck, it's not even just hard work, it's the way they think. Because wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind. So today, let's uncover 15 money mindsets millionaires use every single day. The ones that quietly separate the rich from everyone else. By the end of this, you'll realize it's not about how much you earn, it's about how you think about money. Let's start with one of the most important. Millionaires don't think, how can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? That one tiny shift changes everything. Most people see something expensive and say, I can't afford it. Millionaires see the same thing and say, all right, how do I make it happen? They don't shut down possibility, they activate creativity. That's the difference between limitation and innovation. For example, while the average person cuts back on coffee to save $5 a day, a millionaire mind asks, what can I build that earns me $500 a week? Same energy, different direction. One focuses on lack, the other focuses on creation. And that leads to the next mindset. Millionaires see money as a tool, not a treasure. They don't worship money, they use it. To a millionaire, every dollar is a seed. It's not for flexing on Instagram or showing off, it's for planting. They know if they plant their money in the right soil, it'll grow into something bigger. Income, assets, or opportunity. That's why when most people get paid, they spend it. But when millionaires get paid, they assign it. Every dollar has a mission, a purpose, a job to do. They'll say, this 30% goes to investments, this 20% builds my business, this 10% goes to learning something new. Every dollar works for them, while everyone else works for their dollars. And speaking of that, here's a mindset that might surprise you. Millionaires value time more than money. They understand something most people never figure out. Time is the real currency of life. You can lose money and make it back, but lose time and it's gone forever. That's why they'll happily pay for convenience. They'll hire help, automate tasks, outsource projects, because their time is too valuable to waste on low-level work. They'd rather spend that energy creating something that earns even more. Ever notice how people brag about doing it all themselves? Millionaires don't. They brag about building systems that do it for them. That's leverage. Now here's the fourth mindset. They never rely on one income stream. Millionaires know one job, one paycheck, or one business isn't real security. Because if one thing goes wrong, your whole world collapses. They build what's called income layers. Maybe they have a business, but they also invest in stocks or real estate. Maybe they run a YouTube channel that pays through ads or digital products. Multiple streams mean multiple safety nets. While most people depend on one income and hope it's enough, millionaires create many, so they never have to depend on hope. And what fuels all that growth? The next mindset, millionaires are obsessed with learning. Seriously. The richest people read, watch, and learn every day. Warren Buffett still reads 500 pages daily. Elon Musk learned rocket science by reading, because they understand your income can only grow as fast as your knowledge. The average person stops learning after school. Millionaires never stop. They see every book, podcast, or mentor as a potential money multiplier. And the wildest part, they don't just learn to know, they learn to apply. They test, tweak, and repeat until something works. Which brings us to one of the most powerful ones. Millionaires don't fear failure. They use it. Most people are terrified to lose. They'll avoid risks, stay safe, and end up stuck. But millionaires, they fail fast and learn faster. Every mistake becomes data. Every loss becomes experience. They know every big success is built on a pile of failures. They think like scientists, test, measure, adapt. It's not emotional, it's just part of the process. That's how they keep growing while others quit after the first setback. And here's something you might not expect. Millionaires don't chase money. They chase value. They know that money follows impact. The more value you create for others, the more wealth you attract naturally. If you help 10 people, you make a living. If you help 10,000, you build a fortune. That's why you'll rarely hear a millionaire say, I need more money. They'll say, I need to solve a bigger problem. Money is just the scorecard for how much value you've created. So instead of thinking, how can I make money fast? Start asking, how can I help more people in a way that matters? That shift alone can change your entire financial future. And that ties perfectly into the next mindset. Millionaires think long-term, always. They don't look for overnight success. They plant seeds today that will grow for decades. That's why they invest when others panic. They hold when others sell. They're patient when others chase quick dopamine hits. Because they know the game of wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. The goal isn't fast money, it's forever money. So, to recap what we've uncovered so far, millionaires aren't magical creatures. They're just people who think differently, they ask better questions, they value time, they multiply opportunities, and they play the long game. Millionaires make their money work for them. Here's the truth most people never grasp. If your money isn't working, you are. Millionaires understand that wealth isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep and how effectively you make it grow. They invest constantly, not just in the stock market, but in assets that multiply. Businesses, real estate, intellectual property, or digital income streams. They know money sitting in a bank account is like an employee sitting on the couch doing nothing. Every dollar should be earning more dollars. So they ask, where can I put this money so it keeps working while I sleep? That's the millionaire secret, turning active income into passive income. And when that happens, they stop trading hours for dollars and start buying freedom. Millionaires focus on net worth, not income. Here's a big one. The average person measures success by how much they earn in a month. Millionaires measure success by how much they own when the month ends. It's not about your salary, it's about your assets. A person making $200,000 a year can still be broke if they spend it all. But someone earning $70,000 and investing 30% could quietly become a millionaire. That's why millionaires track net worth religiously. They know exactly what they own, what they owe, and what's growing. You can't improve what you don't measure. And they measure everything. Millionaires think in percentages, not dollars. This one's subtle but powerful. The average person says, I saved $200 this month. A millionaire says, I saved 20% of my income this month. See the difference? Thinking in percentages builds consistency. It keeps your habits scalable. Whether you make $2,000 or $200,000, your system still works. Millionaires automate this mindset. Money goes to investments first, bills second. They don't save what's left after spending. They spend what's left after saving. That's discipline, not luck. Millionaires surround themselves with winners. You've heard the saying, your network is your net worth. It's true. Millionaires are intentional about who they spend time with. They surround themselves with people who inspire growth, not gossip. People who talk about ideas, not drama. They understand that environment is stronger than willpower. If you spend time around 5 people who complain about money, you'll likely become the 6th. But if you spend time with 5 people who build, invest, and grow, guess what you'll start doing? You'll start expanding too. Success is contagious, but so is mediocrity. Choose wisely. Millionaires play defense as much as offense. Building wealth isn't just about making money, it's about keeping it. Millionaires protect their wealth like a fortress. They use insurance, diversification, and emergency funds as shields. They don't put all their eggs in one basket, and they never risk what they can't afford to lose. They play defense so smartly that even when the economy shakes, they don't panic. They adapt because they've built safety nets while others ignored them. That's why during downturns, millionaires buy assets while others sell in fear. Millionaires delay gratification. If there's one mindset that separates them from everyone else, it's this. They're masters at waiting. They know how to say no to short-term pleasure for long-term gain. They'd rather drive a used car and invest the difference than impress strangers with a lease. They delay consumption to accelerate compounding. It's not about being cheap, it's about being strategic. Because they know every dollar wasted today is a future opportunity lost. And when that patience pays off, they get to live decades without worrying about money, while others still chase paychecks. Millionaires give generously. This one surprises a lot of people, but it's true. Most millionaires are givers. They donate, support causes, mentor others, or quietly help behind the scenes. Why? Because they understand the universal law of money. Circulation creates abundance. When you give, you don't lose. You open the door for more to flow back in. And it's not just about charity. It's about mindset. Giving breaks scarcity thinking. It says, I have enough. And there's more where that came from. That's confidence, not coincidence. Millionaires take full responsibility. And this one ties it all together. Millionaires don't blame the government, the economy, or luck. They take ownership, full ownership of their results. Because when you blame, you give away your power. But when you take responsibility, you get that power back. Even when life hits hard, bad investments, lost opportunities, setbacks, they don't sit in self-pity. They ask, what can I learn from this? And move forward stronger. That mindset doesn't just build wealth, it builds resilience. Now, let's bring this home. The truth is, the difference between you and a millionaire isn't as big as it seems. It's not about luck or genius or some secret formula. It's about small daily mindsets, repeated over and over again until they reshape your habits, your results, and your reality. When you start thinking like a millionaire, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your results change. And before long, your life changes. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't afford that, stop. Ask instead, how can I create that? Because that one question, that tiny shift is where wealth truly begins.